Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. We've got a double header video for you today, both featuring the M41 HMC howitzer motor carriage. It's also known as the Gorilla. It's a tier 5 American SPG with 155mm howitzer. It's on the eastbourne of Safe Haven under the command of Deathnub. Game on. Okay, well, this thing is slow to accelerate, but it does have a fairly good top speed once it gets up there, 56.3 kilometers per hour. It's based on the Chaffee hull. You can see that from that hexagonal engine plate right at the front of the vehicle. We will show the weak spots, or rather not the weak spots, but the modules later on during the video, so you can see exactly where everything is mounted in the vehicle. It's not one of the best tier 5 RTs, but it's certainly capable because it can fire over the entire range of the map. It's 155mm howitzer after all. They started work on it in December of 1942, and originally it was going to be built on the hull of the M5 Stuart. As you know, there was an Arty that was designed for the M5 Stuart hull, but it never actually got put into production. It was only a test to see if they could actually do it. Instead, the Chaffee had actually been produced, the M24, and as that had been approved for production as a light tank, the Americans decided that they would try and produce an artillery piece, an SPG, based on the Chaffee hull, and they could use it then to supplement the M12s. Rounds out. Well, near 101 hit points. RNG said no, so it landed in front, but he still got some damage and a small amount of stun. It's powered by two Cadillac V8 engines, and you'll see where they are. They're right in the front of the vehicle, just behind the transmission. And in fact, it's the transmission that's behind that hexagonal plate. It does have enough ammunition for, I think it's 22 rounds are actually stowed in the vehicle at the back. And that's quite a lot of ammo. In the game, you actually get 27. So you get slightly more ammo from the game version than you do from the actual one. But it should be said that the actual M41 Gorillas did have a supply vehicle, what they call an armoured utility vehicle, which would actually provide all the extra ammunition that they needed and also carry the additional crew, because you couldn't get many crew on the vehicle. Oh, that was a good hit. Direct hits on the KV-122. Yeah, you couldn't get all the crew in the vehicle at the same time, because they'd have to hang on to the outside as it was moving along, and so it actually made good sense to have an armoured utility vehicle which would actually carry the crew and the additional shells. I will show a picture of one of those later on. The M39 is the armoured utility vehicle, and that was based on the Hellcat hull. So they could stow a huge amount of ammunition and the crew could climb in, and so they had something to whiz around the battlefield alongside their Gorilla. Now they only built 85 of these because they were going to produce 250, but the order came in very late and it passed the trials in 1944. They didn't start producing them until about end of 1944, beginning of 1945, and the first ones were ready for use in June of 1945, and of course the war in Europe was over by then, so it never saw action on the European battlefield, and that's where they were sent. But it did see action later on in Korea. In fact, it did see a lot of action in Korea because of course it was quite small, able to get around. 81 hit points off the Cromwell with a near miss. One of the bad things about this Arty is that as it traverses, and it's got a very narrow arc of traverse, it's 20.5 degrees to the left and 17 degrees to the right, so 37.5 degrees overall. And outside that arc you get quite a large reticule, as you can see here, very large at long range. and that means that it's not very accurate at long range. It takes a lot of practice to get it right, and that's why it's also very difficult to mark this vehicle, and that's why it's fairly easy to get marks, because technically you have to do a lot of damage, but as so few people actually stick with it, it means that if you do stick with it, you stand a good chance of getting your third mark on it. I know that sounds a bit contradictory, but it's true. The fact is that because it's so difficult to play with such a big reticule, such a long reload time, many people just ignore it and just go straight on to the M44, and of course the M44 they play to bits. Now they actually did produce more M44s than they did the M41s. Oh, a little late, but he stuns the Cromwell, and he's picking up some stun assist. You only get about 5 seconds of stun. It's 500 alpha from the 155, which is about in line with what you get from a 105mm. And of course now the enemy team is getting fairly close. So this is getting a bit worrying. If he actually moves up onto that hill there, he will be spotted by the enemy team. So he's now got to get into a position where he can defend himself, if necessary, using a shotgun. The enemy might know that he's here, so he's preparing himself for a shotgun. Very close range. We do have some friendly teammates just the north or south end of the town, and we now can actually see where one of the enemies is. He's fairly close to us. He's very close. That's a Wolverine, but the enemy tank is only a short distance away. It's that Skoda, and he just wiped out the Wolverine. Oh, lovely. Reload time by the book is 23.97 seconds, but you can see the Deathnub's got it down to 20.20. He's actually carrying some heat rounds as well, so not just the HE, but the heat. I'm surprised that that Skoda, that enemy Skoda there, the Skoda T25, didn't see the shell emanating from this end of the map. The enemy does have an advantage at the moment, and now we're just down to 3, including Deathnub, up against 6 of the enemy. So they're outnumbered 2-1, but that doesn't mean that they're going to lose. It means that they're they're having a difficult game. Now if his teammates can spot, he can put rounds into this Tiger, and well, he's got the sight on him. Okay, that looks about right. Fires blind. No, I think that's going to splash him, and it might anger the Tiger enough to actually come over here and do something. There is that KV-122 he hit earlier in the game is only a short distance away, and now he's far enough away he might be able to lob the shells over at the KV-122. And the good thing about the arc on this shell is actually it's quite good, it's quite high. Not as high as the Gorilla, but it's reasonable, which means that the further you move away, if the enemy gets close, the more likely you're going to be able to lob the shell over. He's going to try and get a shell into that Tiger, who's the only one capping. And there he is. Okay, line it up, let it dial in. It takes ages to dial in, another 7 seconds or so. But he should be able to get a reset. And yes, that's a direct hit. Now, it's only 5 points for the reset, but it certainly does remind that Tiger that they could win this game. There he is again. You can notice how it sort of like kicks the gun upwards, and he could get a decent shot on this Tiger now to really upset him. Yes, lovely. 164 into the rear of the Tiger, stuns him, makes him easier to hit. Oh, the M10 gets taken out by one of the enemy Arty. In fact, it was the M41 on the enemy team who got the kill on the M10. Now somebody's gone into the cap, and I don't think it's the Tiger, because I think he's still up on that rise, which means that Deathnub's going to have to go up to those bushes and peek through them. And that could actually allow him to be spotted. It's only him and the Achilles left. Can he see them? His view range is very short. It's only 260 meters. Okay, couldn't see them, so he's going to have to go down really close. And this is dangerous, but he might have to do just a shotgun now. And it's one of the enemy Arty, it's the gorilla, and he's turning to face us. And Deathnub's going in. Oh, brilliant shot! Lovely shotgun right in the face of the gorilla, and he's out the game. But now Deathnub is in danger because, of course, he's managed to get into a position where the enemy doesn't see him. But there's that tiger, and he's just round the corner. He went into the building, and oh, now that's unusual. The enemy Arty fired from behind him. So one of the enemy Arty was near the position where he was located before. And here comes the tiger. He needs to get away. Okay, the tiger's coming up behind him. He spotted an enemy gorilla who is behind him. And he can't deal with the gorilla whilst he's got the tiger there. But he's going to do it. He's locked on. The accuracy didn't work, but it got close. The tiger's gone. The Achilles killed the tiger, and now it looks like Deathnub's going to reload before the gorilla does. He rams him and get a ram off him. Now he can shotgun this guy because he's still... Oh, he managed to get another ram. Now he's got the advantage on the gorilla. He can just drive straight up to the guy and shoot him. Turn, traverse. As soon as he turns... Yes! What a kill! Excellent play, but he needs to get out now because that's the enemy Arty firing in. The last Arty on the enemy team, which is the M41. And in fact, he's the last member of the enemy team. They've managed to convert 3 against 6 to 2 against 6. And now it's 1 versus 1 because the Achilles got killed. But it's now one M41 HMC versus the other M41 HMC for the battle. Would you have expected this at the start of this game? I doubt it. I wouldn't have expected it. This is total news to me. Of course, I never look at the results before the game. I don't watch the game beforehand, so it's all new to me what he's doing. He has a really good chance of winning this game. Yes, he's taken a loss of hit points, but I think he could actually do it. Before the Achilles took out the tiger, I thought the tiger would get him, but now I think he stands a chance so long as he can find the enemy M41. Now, if that M41 goes into his cap, then he'll know where he is. But if he goes into the enemy cap, he's going to become a prime target for that enemy gorilla. So he needs to ideally take a long route to get down there just to see if the enemy Arty will actually take the bait and go to his cap. Okay, he's knocking down a few trees. You shouldn't really do that. That can let the enemy know from which direction you're coming. If he sees trees going down, he might say, ah, okay, that's the 2-minute warning. And the time to expire without getting by capping is now running, so it's now expired. So if he does get reset, then he can't win the game. But even if he doesn't win the game, he's had a great game, and the enemy has started capping, and that means that he will win, and the enemy cannot cap out in time. I don't think they can. They just, no, maybe just, if they can get a reset, they can. I forgot it's the amount of time needed. Now, I wouldn't stick near that house. I would actually get away because that's where the enemy Arty is more than likely going to fire, thinking you're hiding behind the building. So my instinct would be to find a position somewhere in the open, away from the cap circle, away from the building, on the off chance that the enemy fires in this direction. Well, it looks like the enemy M41 is not bothering to fire. And the thing is, there's a big enough gap between them that Deathnub is going to win. So unless he gets a reset, and here he goes. And he fired long. It landed behind us. So he can't reload in time to get another shot off. So it looks like Deathnub is going to win. He'll maybe get one more shot, but Deathnub will have won before that, and he has won. And that's it. The 5 seconds countdown, and it's ended, and Deathnub has won by capping. What a game. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game from Deathnub in the M41 HMC, and what a game it was. He did definitely, at the end of that game, he saved his teammates from a defeat. It looked like it was going the enemy's way because they were outnumbered 2-1, but oh boy did he pull it back, and he did so spectacularly, taking out 2 enemy gorilla in his own cap area. Let's have a look at the rest. He managed to get a bruiser for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 9. And he got an invader medal because he took out the enemy, or managed to capture the cap and get at least 80 capture points and cap out to win at the end of the game. And look at the win rate, 5,429 Super Unicum standard and a bit more. So let's have a look at the team score and see where he was. Well, he didn't get the highest damage in the game. That went to the 45 TP on his team, who got a high caliber for 2,570. The second highest damage in the game went to the M2Y on the enemy team with 1,803 hit points. And the third highest damage was actually to the Skoda T25, the guy who could have actually driven round and shot Deathnub, who got 1,798. He didn't really pay attention to where Deathnub was located. He must have seen the enemy shells coming out of that area, but just didn't bother to go in and check where Deathnub was. And he was located only a short distance away at the time. 1,747 hit points went to Deathnub, and of course he got that invader. When it came to kills, he shared the top spot with the Achilles. Both got 3 kills each. The M2Y got 3, so did the Tiger 1. And when it came to base XP, it was the 45 TP on by virtue of the fact that he got the high caliber. He got 979, whereas Deathnub got 872. And the third highest base XP was the M10 RBFM, who got 747, but got taken out by that Tiger 1. Deathnub fired 14 rounds in that game, got 6 direct hits on the enemy and 3 penetrations. Now, I suspect that the ones he penned were the gorillas because they have very thin armor. Yes, one of them was, and the other one was as well. And yes, he penned the Wolverine, the one up in the heights area, when the Skoda was just a short distance away. He lobbed a shell at that Wolverine. Actually went straight through the armor, so it was a direct hit and pen. He also got 8 splashes on the enemy, damage of 1,747, of which 1,117 were at more than 300 meters. So you can see about 600 hit points of damage was actually done at close range. 2 hits received from the enemy, both splash, and both from the gorillas. The first one managed to get a shot onto him, but he had steadier hand and he took out that enemy gorilla. And then on the second one, when you saw that, the way they had to chase round after each other, and of course he managed to get the advantage over that gorilla by ramming him, because they're both based on light tank or tank destroyer vehicles, which made it easier for them to damage each other without suffering such a large amount of damage in the process. Of course, the gorilla based on the Chaffee, and the gorilla, the M41 based on the Chaffee, and the gorilla on the German side is actually based on the Hetzer chassis. 1 enemy vehicle spotted, 8 enemy vehicles damaged, 3 killed, and 326 hit points of stun assist off 8 stuns. He managed to get base capture points of 100, so he got the invader medal, and he actually managed to get 48 defense points as well by resetting the cap, so he wasn't far off, not only getting an invader medal, but actually picking up a defender medal as well at the same time. 40,146 credits from the battle, 50,000 for completing a mission, 90,146 altogether, and after repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables, took away a profit of 62,561 credits. That's a very good score from a tier 5 Arty. 1,308 XP times 2 for the first victory, took away 2,616 experience points altogether. So let's have a look at the mods location on the M41. I know some of you do like this information because it actually tells you where you can actually hit these vehicles to take them out. Well, it's based on the chassis hull. You can see the driver is right up front on the right side as you're looking at it. Over here on the left side is actually the driver's mate. He's supposed to be the radio man, but the radio is actually in the back next to the commander, as you can see here, whereas the gunner is actually located right next door to the gun. The engine is right down the center. The transmission's at the front. So if you actually aim for that hexagonal area on the front, you're going to knock the transmission out. But the engine is right in the center of the vehicle, and either side of that is the fuel tank. So if you want to get a fire on one of these, you just fire into the main body of the vehicle, and it'll more than likely actually hit the fuel tanks and set the thing off. The ammunition, as you know, as you can see on the outside of the model, is actually at the back, just underneath the gun. There's racks for 22, well, 27 in the game, 22 actually, rounds of ammunition. And the loader actually sits on the back, just behind the gunner, obviously. He's taking the rounds directly out the rack in front of the gunner, and then shoveling them into the breech, whilst the gunner's manipulating the aim and traverse to hit the enemy. So there you have it. That's the module placement on the M41 HMC. So let's have a look at the second battle, and that's also in the M41. This time round, Deathnub is on the north spawn of Fisherman's Bay. And you can see now he's got 2 marks of excellence on the barrel of his M41 HMC. Okay, as he pulls away, you can see the ammo racks directly underneath the gun. Underneath the howitzer, I should say. No seats for the gunner, the loader or the driver being shown. As I say, I will show the transport vehicle that they use, the M39, for transporting around additional ammunition. In this game he's got the assistance of a Fifi, or for those of you who are not Arty players, the Leffy. We call her Fifi because one of the members of What Arty Noobs named her the Fifi La Pew Pew because she's French, she's female, and she pews a lot at the enemy. So that's why it's Fifi La Pew Pew. Okay, Deathnub's finding his position. Okay, he's going to sit in the swamp. Okay. Looks like he's going to go for that box tank. That may be a very good shot because if he can dial in, let it settle. Oh, that was somebody just got a direct hit on the box tank. And it looks like he moved after, because we saw Deathnub's shell land directly behind where the box tank was, but it didn't kill him. But it looks like the enemy Arty, or our Arty rather, the other Arty on our team, the Fifi, did get a direct hit. And I think he's moved since. But it was a very accurate shot in terms of placement. Well, a few enemy tanks have been seen in the town area, and what's interesting is they decided to come this side of the houses, and that's actually very good for Deathnub because it means he can accurately hit these guys. Normally he wouldn't be able to hit them because of the town in the way the houses. Now he anticipated they were going to be pulling back, but they didn't, or at least one of them didn't, the KV-1, but I think the other one did actually pull back, but he couldn't see it at the time. Okay. Just adjust the aim a little. He's pulling back. Grabs out. Looks good. Oh! He gets killed just before our shell reaches. Okay, a little leopard hiding behind that building there, but the enemy's pushing through the town area. They've been stopped by the T1 Heavy and the M2Y for the moment. But it looks like they're going to come to that corner to try and engage the M2Y. Ah, now he can definitely hit that VK3601H. Rams out. Lands in front of him but stuns him. Sounds like the enemy Arty's having a bit of fun as well. They've got a Gorilla and an SU-122A. Well, that one went long and to the right. And now that Leopard's being a real pain. Okay, let's see if we can ruin his day. Rounds out. Looks good. Perfect! Right on the money. Went straight through his armour. Remember, 500 alpha, 38mm of pen. The Leopard doesn't have that much armour on the sides of his turret, so obviously the shell went right through. In fact, I think it hit the rear of his turret, and that was made it so easy a pen, but it was very well aimed. Subsequent shells follow up. So he's on the scoreboard. He's got his first kill. I should say, actually, the friendly Fifi on our team has actually got 3 kills already. Rams out the SU-100. That's better. Close, but the bunker shielded him from the damage. I actually thought he fired. In fact, it was the friendly Fifi who was sitting directly behind us, and that's why it confused me as to who was actually firing. Looks like he's firing in exactly the same direction we're firing. They've moved a little further up. You need to move to the right. Oh, was that a lag spike? I think that was a lag spike. We will go back. I'm pretty sure we just had a massive lag spike during the battle. I'm going to run it back because it seems that he did aim to the right, but we didn't see it because all of a sudden it lagged. Or maybe that was a lag spike that was experienced by Deathnub. No, it wasn't. It was me. Because he's now re-aimed on the Easy 8. And an enemy tank has got very close. It's the VK2801-105. And he's only a short distance away. We're trying to get a solution on him. Well, that worked. 63 hit points of damage. The enemy thief, I keep saying the enemy thief, but it's not the enemy. It's our teammate. We're locked on, and the VK's killed by our Jackson. We're only 2 tanks down on the enemy now. Okay, the SU-100 still sitting there next to the bunker. If we can get the shell to go straight and hit the vehicle directly, I think he stands a good chance of severely damaging that SU-100. Rounds out. Direct hit! Well, I say direct hit, but it actually did land just behind it. And it looks like the enemy Arty is now paying attention to this end of the map. So all the players this end are now relocating after shooting because... yeah, Arty rounds are inbound. Okay, he's moved much further over to the west. Sitting behind the tree here, he's in a much more comfortable position. He's got teammates in front of him. We're 2 down on the enemy at the moment, but it's still anyone's game. The VK3601H has come up from the town. He's still got a lot of health. Deathnub trying to line him up. Almost dialed in. Almost ready. Line it up. That's it. Looks good. Oh, perfect! Right on his front. 154. He's now 1 shot and he's stunned. And there's the kill shot from the Fifi on our team, who's now got 4 kills. Okay. So we're only down by one tank at the moment. There's the enemy Arty firing in. Gives us an idea where he is. I think he's right at the back, but he might actually be sitting behind those ammo dumps. Oh, and the other one is in the other place next to the trees. So we've seen the location of the enemy Arty because they just fired. One's slightly to the right and the other one's over in the trees to the right, a bit further to the right. He's waiting for them to shoot so that we can get an idea of where they are. Just about here, I think, behind those trees. Well, I think we just saw I just saw a tracer on the far right side of his screen as he's looking at it right now. So I think one of them's already fired. There's one. He's in the trees. Definitely in the trees. I think that's about right. No, I think that's a bit too far to the left. That's it. Yes, he's marked the spot. I think he's right. He's round there. And if the enemy Arty was there, he's probably at this moment nursing some severe damage. We can see where the other one is. He is actually right at the back. Near the tower. Just behind the bushes in the back. Try a speculative shot. Deathnub could indicate where the other one is because he must have seen the exact position that the enemy Arty is in. Fires his next round in. We didn't hear the round as it went out. No, the one at the back is still there. Oh, he accidentally fired, or negligently discharged, as I put it. Actually, we were joking about that the other day, because he's not the only one who's fired it. I do it as well. I have done it in the past. You change your aim, and when you do move your mouse and suddenly you accidentally hit the fire button when you don't intend to, and fire one at the enemy. Well, the rest of our teammates are actually starting to move south down the west side of the map to try and find out where the enemy is, make it easier for our team to win. I think the enemy Arty is still located in those positions though, near the that tree in the back. They found one of the enemy. It's the M2Y, and he's low on hit points. In fact, he probably knows that the enemy's behind him. Rounds out. Oh, kill shot! That's on the engine deck. Another great shot. And that's... Oh, he did it again. Or no, that was the Arty behind us. Or is it the mods that have failed? There's the SU-122A. Direct hit takes him out the game. That's where the why the Fifi was firing in that direction. The SU-122A moved. And the other one's the gorilla, and he's suddenly coming to sight. He's trying to change position, and before we can shoot, he's taken out of the game. So it's now only 3 of the enemy left: an SU-85, an SU-100, and a Leo. And the Leo is really close to us, but he's a one-shot. Now we're in the bushes, so he can't see us, and we did lose our Fifi. He got taken out by the Leo. But the Leo is still wandering around trying to find Deathnub. Oh, now he backed up. His sixth sense went off and he just fired in our general direction. Deathnub's trying to get a solution on him, but it's difficult because he's on the ridgeline, but I don't think he can see us. Well, there he is. Deathnub's going in for a shotgun. Oh, he got hit in the engine. And he's lost virtually all of his hit points. And the Leo's backing off. And, oh, he failed. And there's the kill shot. Nice try. I think I would have waited until he started engaging one of our other tanks. And then he could have just driven up behind him and shot him in the ass. But good try by Deathnub. Now the enemy is capping, but the problem they've got is that we've got enough tanks down the other end of the map, and our Super Hellcat just got a kill shot on that capping enemy, the Su-100, which just leaves the Leo and the Su-85, and they're out of position, which means our guys are easily going to win with 3 in the cap. So this game is going to be over momentarily. And there goes the Leo. And we won't kill the Su-85 in time. But it is a victory. Well, balls of steel to Deathnub, because he managed to get an ace tanker in that game in the M41 HMC. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 8 Nova medals, but he did get a win rate of 1,447. Yeah, I think in future, when you've got an enemy tank that close to you and you've got teammates on the way to coming back and helping you, best to wait till the enemy is distracted by somebody else and just drive up behind them and shoot them. They may realise that, oh my god, there's somebody coming up behind me. They may turn their gun, but of course then if your teammate is quick on the draw, he'll probably distract them once more, and then you get the kill shot. Anyway, let's have a look at the team score and see what he did. Well, he didn't get the highest damage in the game. That went to the Su-100 on the enemy team with 2,199, but he didn't get a high caliber because he didn't get 20% of the enemy hit pool. The second highest damage went to the Jackson with 1,993, and the third highest damage went to the M2Y on our team with 1,982. And we can see here that Deathnub managed to get 813 hit points, whilst the other Fifi on our team, or the other Arty, got 1,744. So he was doing rather nicely. Deathnub did nicely as well, 813. When it came to kills, it was our Fifi who did the best with 4 kills. 3 kills went to the Jackson and to Deathnub, and also to the Leo on the enemy team, the tank that finally did kill Deathnub. He got a Pascucci's for killing both of our Arties. When it came to base XP, it's the Jackson who did the best with 1,073. Our Fifi got 880. The M2Y got 821. And Deathnub wasn't far behind in 4th place with 743. He fired 20 rounds in this game, so he still had 7 left at the end of the game. 3 direct hits on the enemy and 1 penetration. I'm curious as to know which one he actually did penetrate. It wasn't the Su-122. It wasn't the SUY. Oh, it was the Leopard. Of course, yes, the shell went right through the back of his turret, and it did pen him because he has got weak armor there. I was right about that. So that was a really nice shot to get that pen trot. 12 splash on the enemy as well. 813 hit points of damage, of which 750 were done at more than 300 meters. He did receive 2 hits, both of them from the Leo, and both penned. And he damaged 8 of the enemy, killed 3, did 387 hit points of damage assistance, and 466 hit points of stun assist off 9 stuns. He earned 30,693 credits from the game, but after repair, ammunition, respawn, consumables, actually made a small loss of 787 credits and 1,114 XP, and the same amount to take away. That was his ace tanker number 5. So he's had more ace tankers before. Obviously, you've seen one of them. That was the Safe Haven game. But this was his 5th one. So he's actually getting quite good. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see him with 3 marks on his M41 at some time in the very near future. I did say that I'd let you know and let you see what the M39 auxiliary vehicle is. There it is, the Armoured Utility Vehicle. This is based on the Hellcat. And it's a Hellcat without a turret. It's just the hull of a Hellcat, and they'd load all the ammunition into the vehicle, plus of course they'd have the crew piling on top as well, and that thing would then drive around the battlefield supplying the artillery pieces with all the ammunition they needed. It also acted as a troop carrier as well and could carry wounded out of the battlefield. I think that guy there is on the stretcher because he got a minor wound. And there you can see the side view of basically what is a Hellcat without a turret. And there's one in action in Korea, I think. Yep, the Battle of the Samichon River, also known as Hill 111, known as Boulder City. There you can see it's basically a Hellcat with a nice M2 machine gun or M3 on the top, and enough crew to carry around the ammo for the various artillery pieces that they're supplying. So I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to my channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.